Good day, y'all. This is the King of Androsica. Once again, the legendary fighters 3, the fight for the universe. As the tournament continued, on the sidelines, deep in the galaxy of the Kozachu, Delitor, who had opted out of the tournament this time to lead his forces against Queen Alexa's Fidel and his Medonian / mixed army with fellow Fidelians and people from the Pentoran regions of the universe. And there was a big escalation. One of the big outer planets of the Khazad-dû. It was inhabitable, but wasn't. It was inhabitable enough for battle, but no major settlements were there, and so the battle was stated there. Delitor led his special commandos and men to this war against the Medonians. He saw familiarity with this battle as he continued fighting. He regained his god warrior mode and began to use it. Instantly turned into a dragon here and then, biting and clawing and tearing open and burning enemies as his troops fought off against the Medonian and Pentoran troops. Deep further away in the plateau, cannons were being fired, and Fidel was boosting a shield around him. So the cannons will fire at the Khazad-dû forces, and the Fidelians will be unhurt. To combat this, the Delitor ordered his Anguro troops and Redor's special Shotan troops were along with the Tigeron and a host of others in this fight to develop a missile, and Delitor himself will provide firepower with his combined three-headed dragon ability, because each one of his weapons were like a mini dragon-y, and then he himself was the main head of it. Eventually, during the battle, as the battle progressed and fighting off the enemies, they hold out long enough before Fidel could tell his main troops to fire along with the tanks to completely wipe out the ship where Delitor was coming from and prevent reinforcements. The enemies were overwhelmed, and the Hinguru, Delitor, and the special missile that was launched destroyed the shield with the Peytono and some of the Fidelian officers on the plateau. Thus, Delitor quickly transformed back into his human form and faced Fidel head on with his sword, with his weapons, and Fidel and his sword, and he was fighting all over the place up in the air as the battle on the ground continued. Then, out of retirement, David Puff, now at old age, the last survivor of the three female warriors of the original Team Control in the very first tournament, arrived with some of the old guard troops that were there from the very beginning of the Khazad-dû. Senior veterans came as reinforcements to deal with the Fidelian army as they began to advance after their shield was destroyed. The battle was heating up as Delitor and Fidel fought it out, rekindling the old past rivalry, and in the end, despite Fidel's best efforts and even becoming a god warrior himself, thanks to Alexa, and was promised by Alexa a new life and new start. However, Delitor quickly destroyed these dreams as he turned into a magnificent giant dragon. And as Fidel was pushed down to the ground, stuck between the rubble of a side of a mountain, he looked up and said, "The dragon, the big beast of revelation. It is Delitor. How I see my folly." And as Delitor announced, a giant snake dragon was 500 feet long in length and towering over the sky as the sky began to darken. Lightning was thrown everywhere. On all sides who were fighting on the battlefield below quickly stopped as they saw the magnificent dragon up in the air. And Delitor in his dragon form said loudly, "Farewell, Fidel. You and your phoenix, and all that drive with you. Burn!" And then there's a magnificent giant green flame and burned up Fidel instantly. Seeing this, the Medonian, Pentoran Fidelian army scattered across the cosmos, and never went back to Queen Alexa again, and she lost. Queen Alexa herself did not appear in this battle, as she was still somewhere in space. Victory was the cause of Chu, as the cause of Chu people chanted and celebrated and hailed their king. As Delta returned back to human form, many of the the cause of Chu forces were packing up, heading back home. As Delta was prepared to make his next move, seeing the tournament was still in play, suddenly a big master ship appeared. This was a ship of Macedonian origin. He said the Macedonians come back again, but no, this time it was of Merel, who, the L clan, were cousins of the Doctorans, the main leaders of the Macedonians that ended Delitor in the first universe. And then an alternate timeline, Delitor defeated the Doctorans. And now the cousins of the Doctorans, the L clan, had appeared. Merel said, Lexa has failed. But you, Delitor, a serpent, has been displayed in your power to destroy the Phoenix. But now I have come, and I stand for righteousness. I cannot allow you to rule this universe. I will bring down the last evil spawn of that evil devil known as Paul Hera. And then his daughter, Clef L, was also there, claiming that they, along with all their forces and their special units, will destroy the Closet Chu. As Delta looked on in fear and anger and green energy, about to turn to his god mode, appeared. Sarah Lee, who was a part of the L Army and the Kichiro Division leader, and Melkot Ba, the lieutenant of the Hilo Division of the Macedonians, which was one of the main bodies of the Macedonian race in the galaxy. Sarah Lee was a telepath and Med's right hand, and Melkot was just a lieutenant general. And in the L Army consisted also the rest of the unnamed L family members who were lieutenants and leaders, and Sipun, a giant of a man who swore his allegiance and to fight for the L cause after he was saved from falling down a cliff one day when he was 5 years old, traveling in the planet. Med-El was on vacation and saw this boy, and he saved him when he was young. Now he was a giant, and now he swore his allegiance to him and him alone, despite him being of Bashar magazine descent. And now El, who is charged by heaven itself to exercise Delator, now that Queen Alexa had failed, but she only wanted to do it to solidify her ambitions to rule and not for the sake of heaven. And so a new battle was about to begin. Thus, Delator was now going to be unable to participate in this year's tournament, and the tournament continues on without Delator.